I think that the most powerful thing in the world is an idea that's ready to manifest itself in a physical form. Let me ask you a question. Why do you think most people fail? Why do they give up on those goals and dreams? The wealthiest place in the world is cemetery. Why? Because all those people passed away with those wonderful ideas that never came to fruition. I think every time somebody tells me, think outside the box, why is there a box in the first place? What is this box that we're born into? Why do we have to think a certain way? Some people call it, well, that's the truth. That's just the way it is. I think of life as a river, and you can just go with the flow and continue moving along as the people that came before you. Or you can plant yourself into the ground like a stick and create your own ripple effect. And I feel like the definition of truth is just a perspective on experience. And so when I set my goal to be successful, I set my goal to be wealthy, I set my goal to be happy, I set my goal to be joyful, I set my goal to leave a destiny, all I'm doing is just planting myself in a river and creating a ripple effect. However, there is a price of entry. And today I'd like to talk about that price of entry. What does it take to create something? What does it take to invent something? What does it take to be that pioneer, that entrepreneur, that modern day business person, and become successful and create a brand for yourself, to influence others? People know who you are. And there's 3 phases of truth. And all the truth is, it's your idea. It's the way you think things should be done. You've created that in your imagination. You said, what I imagine in my mind is a lot better than my current reality. And then you plant yourself and you hold that truth long enough until it manifests. Phase 1 of truth is you're going to be ridiculed. Honestly, I think it's not purposely done. I think the people are around you that's going to ridicule you, they just don't understand. See, when you set off, the people around you vibrating at a certain frequency. And when you start to elevate yourself, when you start to do personal development, when you start to talk to other people, you start to grow. There's a good quote that says, elevation requires separation. And you're going to need to love those people from the distance. I've heard before that there's 3 people kill most dreams. It's your mom, dad, and your significant other. Maybe your best friend. And it's not because they're malicious, it's because they love you. They're looking to protect. And then you start growing, your energy is threatening. Your energy is different. And they want to bring you back. So they will always tell you, why don't you be more realistic? Don't do that. I don't think this is a good idea. They just want their old person back, their old friend, or their old son, or their old daughter. And so anytime somebody embark on those ideas, look at the greats. Look at the Wright brothers. I've read before that the Wright brothers were told that if God wanted us to fly, God would give us wings. And people would point at them and say, look at those crazy brothers, what are they doing? They're trying to fly. It's just part of the game. I don't know if you heard a story of Roger Bannister. He's the first person to run a 4-minute mile. He was a medical student. And the doctors would tell him that it is physically impossible to run a 4-minute mile because your heart and your lungs would explode. But that man saw at first in his mind, and then his body caught up. And what's very interesting, within the next 2 months, with him breaking the 4-minute mile, 12 people did it. Because that box got larger. He made other people believe that they could do it because he was the first. I've also heard that the difference between a millionaire and billionaires, see, millionaires, they look at the numbers and say, oh, only 2% of people did it, I'll do it. And see, a billionaire is usually the first person to enhance something, reinvent itself, to create new product or service, a new way of doing things. But just know that the first phase is people will laugh at you, people will mock you, And this is usually your friends and family in the close circle, because they just don't understand you. They're just threatened by your energy. It's okay. It's part of the phase 1. Then goes in phase 2. It'll be violently opposed. You see, dogs don't bark at parked cars. They piss at them. And if you're really doing something, you're going to have some haters. People are going to slander. They're going to create campaigns. You're going to have an enemy. Somebody's always going to try to bring you down. Let me tell you this. The reason people talk about you, because if they talk about themselves, nobody would listen. The reason people try to bring you down is because they're below you. I've never met a truly successful person that talks shit about other people. I never met a truly successful person that have time to look at the competition. Winners focus on winning. Losers focus on winners. And it's just the price of entry. It's the price you pay. I heard from Dan Pena before. He said you have to be ready to be ridiculed. If you want the stage, you got to be ready for the critics. And nothing great was done without the violent opposition. Look at the laws that we have today. There's a lot of great people had to sacrifice a lot of emotions, a lot of physical abuse, so that we can have a world that we live in today, that we have freedom. Violent opposition, phase 2. And when you can persevere from being ridiculed and violently opposed, you'll go into phase 3, which is you'll be as accepted evidence. Everybody just know that's how things are. It's very interesting to me, and it's the same people that told you that you couldn't do it, that you should be more realistic, one day will say, hey man, I'm proud of you. I knew you'd be great. I knew you can do it. I always believed in you. The same haters will praise you. The same people that told you that you wasn't good enough will try to get close to you and be your friend. And that's okay. Just understand them. Understand that they're just smaller than you. They was not personally developed than you. They don't have enough emotional intelligence to put that ego to the side and see somebody doing something different for themselves. See somebody following their dreams and goals. See somebody is being in your purpose. And so when the first 2 phases come, I want to ask you, what is your default emotion? Do you get angry? Do you get upset? Does it make like you want to quit? How does it make you feel? See, in my experience, in my first 2.5 years, when I went through the first 2 phases, I didn't realize that life is a mirror, that those things people were saying to me, that was triggering me, is something that I had to address within myself. You see, their perception of me is a direct reflection of themselves, that they were afraid of that within themselves. But my reaction to them is my awareness of myself. So if I lowered myself and started arguing with them, every time I met my friends, I would talk about the things that they would like or the old version of me would like. All I was doing is postponing my own awakening, postponing my own success, postponing my own personal development for me to get to the individual that I needed to become to achieve those goals. And so anytime I feel some type of way about anything, it's an invitation for me to find out more about myself. Remember, truth is a perspective on an experience. If you truly believe something, it's already done, because all we have is this present moment you call now. 5 minutes from now, it'll still be this moment. When you wake up tomorrow morning, it'll still be this present moment now. When do you become a millionaire? Right now. And when do I achieve your goal? When do you stand that truth? Whatever that idea is that you have, whatever that version of yourself that you have, whatever that end result that you have, I promise you it'll happen right now. That means all creation is finished. And you don't have to worry about it anymore. You don't have to stress about things that you already possess. Everything you're seeking is seeking you back in return. And it's just a matter of awareness for you to find out that power within you, the tools, the skills that you have within you. It's a matter of remembering. So moving forward, just know that that's the process. I know it's not easy. There is a price of entry, but I promise you, looking back, look at the person you became is going to be the most valuable thing for you. So follow your truth.